We're going to go ahead and call this August 19th, 2025 City Council meeting to order. This time we'll have the invocation by Councilman Alexander and a pledge of allegiance by Councilman Carter.
Lord, we thank you for the day that you've given us. Every day is a gift, and so we receive it today with thanksgiving. Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to live in this great country, in this great state and city where we can freely assemble. And I thank you for that. We don't take that for granted. Lord, we ask tonight that the words of our mouth and the meditation of our heart would be acceptable in your sight. Oh Lord, my strength and my Redeemer, we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you both. All right, this time we'll have the roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Hayes.
Present.
Councilman Alexander.
Present.
Councilman Carter.
Present.
Councilman Fan.
Here.
Councilman Fennell is absent. Councilman Jones.
Here.
And Councilman Juvance. We do have a quorum.
Thank you, appreciate that. And at this time we'll have the approval of the minutes for the City Council, meeting August the 5th, 2025.
Motion approved.
Motion?
Second.
Councilman Jones, second by Councilman Alexander. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, this time in the meeting, we'll have the public recognition on agenda-related items, and anybody who wants to come up, please give your name, address for the record. You'll have 5 minutes to speak. Oh, yes, and also we have 2 public hearings tonight. If y'all want to wait till those, y'all can speak on those. One of them is, let's see, Master Development Plan for Wedgewood Townhomes, and the other is a Master Development Plan on Station Camp. So.
My name is Joe Godfrey, Godfrey Development Group at 1643 Nashville Pike, Gallatin. And I'm speaking in regard to the Station Camp project. Thought that might be off. There we go. Good evening, commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'd like to share why approving this marina and condominium project is not only appropriate, but also essential to completing the vision of Foxland and Fairview. A little history about the developments and planning. The marina site was actually recorded back in 2007. This is when I first started working there. This was actually platted out to be the marina parking lot. And this is a recorded lot there. It was recorded back in 2007. And then in 2008, we worked on the portion of the master plan where this site is located. I showed this at work session, but I showed it again here real quick. This area right here is where the marina parking lot is. All the plan for the marinas, condos, everything was all in place in 2008. In 2010, we actually had engineering done for the marina. The Corps back then was going to accept applications and everything, and then they ended up not doing it. But we did have all the work done, all the engineering, the whole packet, everything, way back in 2010. These are some of the engineering plans here that was done. And in 2011, the site, this is our master plan. This was the preliminary development plan. This was approved back in 2011. And this was the whole master plan of Foxland. And this area right here is the area I just showed you in color that includes the marina site and the 300 condo units. It also had some retail in there as well. The point I'm trying to make here with this is that this hasn't been a sudden idea. It's been planned, designed, and invested in for well over a decade. Since 2008, my company, the Godfrey Group, has handled the sales of lots and homes in Foxland. We did sell off some of the tracts of land to other developers who built their own homes and handled their own home sales, but we handled either individual lot sales and also tracts of land sales in there since 2008. As well as we recently built and sold the Reverie Lakefront condos that are there now. And we spoke with hundreds of buyers, and I can personally attest that not one person ever said that they would avoid Foxland if there were a marina there. In fact, it was the opposite. Many were excited about it. When we began condo sales in 2016, we had a reservation list. At the time, we weren't sure if there was going to be able to be a marina there or not. And once we were ready to sign purchase agreements, about 15 of the people dropped off because we couldn't guarantee that there was going to be a marina. Others have been asked to be put on waiting lists so they could be assured they could have a slip in the marina. And so this is how it's been the whole time I've been there. The recent opposition I've seen, I haven't experienced that until I've seen things online and people talking about it recently. This shows there's a clear demand and an expectation that a marina belongs there. I want to talk a little bit about the initial vision and investment. I was amazed at the quality and craftsmanship when I first toured Fairview Plantation in 2008, and I built my own home there. The original developer invested millions of dollars into Gallatin, sparing no expense to create one of Tennessee's finest communities. I partnered with Foxland Development in 2009 and worked alongside the original developer. From the beginning, the vision for Fairview and Foxland has been a fully amenitized, high-end lakefront community with 36 holes of golf, a country club, restaurants, pools, fitness centers, a variety of housing choices, and yes, a marina and condos on the very site that will be presented tonight. Everything in that vision has been delivered, except the final piece, the marina and the second phase of condos. Why the approval matters. Most people don't realize the heart and soul and multi-millions of dollars that have gone into these communities. Not to mention the millions in property tax revenue that they continue to generate for Gallatin. The marina and condos aren't just another project. They're the final phase of a master plan that has shaped this city for the past 20 years. That's it? Oh man, I had 2 more sentences. Anyway, don't cut the vision short. I am asking you to approve the final vision for the master plan. Thank you.
Good evening, council members. My name is Marina Katzbeck. I'm at 1692 Foxland Boulevard. I stand before you again in strong opposition to the proposed Foxland Harbor Marina and condo development. My concern is not only for myself, but for the safety, well-being, and quality of life of our entire community. First, traffic in this area is already increasing every year. Without this grandiose marina and condo plan, anyone who lives or drives on Douglas Bend knows the congestion is real and worsening. Which leads to a fundamental question. Are there any plans to improve Douglas Bend at the intersection of Foxland Boulevard and Nashville Pike? If not, then how can this project be responsibly considered? Second, the developer's own traffic solution is quite alarming. Their idea of a 4-way stop at Douglas Bend and Foxland Boulevard earned a failing grade of F from the city's own traffic engineer. Even the roundabout they suggested scored only a near failing grade of DE, which is pretty close to F. Are you truly going to push forward a project built on solutions already deemed failures? Are you going to applaud the increase in traffic and the lack of safety in such a small, already overburdened area? Third, the justification for this marina simply doesn't hold up. Other marinas in the area still have many slips available. So where are the real numbers, the real demand to support an enormous new marina and grandiose condo development in this tiny space? If there isn't a demonstrable need, then what exactly is driving this project forward? And that brings me to my final point. From the outside looking in, it appears that this council may be serving the interests of a small handful of people, developers and private stakeholders, rather than prioritizing the safety, wishes, and well-being of the larger community you were elected to represent. This project is not progress, it is congestion, it is risk, it is imbalance. I urge you to please listen to the voices of your community, not just the developers at the table. Please do the right thing for Foxland Harbor, Douglas Bend, and for our families, and for the growth, future growth of this city. Thank you.
Russell Howsky, 434 Paisley Way. Good afternoon, Council. So pertaining to agenda item number 1, the Wedgewood Townhomes, we respectfully disagree with earlier public comments made about it in support of connecting Paisley Way to the new development. As the homeowner adjacent to the new development, I do not want this connection. My wife and I, we sincerely thank the planners for their decision not to include it. And we're grateful for the thoughtful efforts to minimize the high impact of high-density development in our small, quiet neighborhood. And we agree with the assessment that keeping Paisley Way disconnected is in the best interest of both our neighborhood and the new development. We respectfully ask that the plan be kept as presented and recommended. And we thank you for your consideration, and I can cede the rest of my time.
Good evening. My name is John Sucker. Address is 850 Pickwick Court. Soon to be a 22-year resident of the city of Gallatin. I come before City Council to voice my support of the Marina project, and this support is anchored in 2 perspectives. One, as a senior executive of one of Gallatin's largest employers, our ability to recruit professionals and their families is closely correlated to quality of life and the amenities where they will work and they will live. I applaud the work the City Council has done and is doing to create that betterment, which helps companies such as mine attract that important talent. This project aligns very, very closely with that betterment. Second, as a person who lives approximately 200 yards from an existing marina, that being in the Gallatin Marina, I can affirm that boat traffic, if you will, is not disruptive, but oftentimes, I would say, relaxing. I would say part more of a slow boat parade, which I actually, and my family, enjoys participating in mornings on the last part. So those are my comments regarding the Foxland Harbor Marina. But lastly, on an unrelated topic, the roads in our neighborhood are being resurfaced, and I thought I would take a moment to acknowledge the Public Works Department and the City Council for their continued maintenance and repair of our streets. Thank you very much.
Council, my name is David Shear, 1029 Albatross Way, Foxland Harbor. This is not about the right to develop the marina project at Foxland, but the scope and the scale of what they're proposing. I was not available at your last meeting, but watched carefully the entire meeting. I really liked the part where Mr. Goodall stood up and told you that it is none of your business what he's doing with the docks proposed. Let's dissect this for a moment. Mr. Goodall is attaching docks to several locations within the city. Mr. Goodall is building a fuel station on the lake with attached fuel lines. Mr. Goodall is changing the traffic load and volumes at several locations due to his own traffic engineer's report. Councilmember Zavats asked to amend your last vote of this project and have the traffic improvements built before the development begins. Mr. Goodall states that you have no control over docks, and according to Mr. Goodall, his plan is to build the docks in the Marina store first. That's what he said. The dock project will most likely not trigger the 25% construction threshold. So think about that. The road improvements are required for your citizens' safety consist of a new island constructed so that all the traffic to the existing launch ramp be right in and right out and left out only. One benefit would be to extend stack space for the northbound left turn lanes on the Nashville Pike. Users approaching from the north, coming from Nashville Pike, will be directed by signage to the roundabout to reverse direction and then right turn into the dock launch area. Thus, a roundabout, not a four-way stop, is required. Mr. Goodall told you at the last meeting that they had built all the improvements to Douglas Bend Road to handle all expected Fox and Harbor traffic at build-out. I am sure he's not happy that his traffic report requiring road improvements. He has it under his control to change this dynamic. He can commit as part of his approvals to build a maximum of 60 to 75 docks, a neighborhood facility, and add a launch ramp for those docks on his property. This will remove a lot of the safety concerns and would significantly reduce traffic and accident potential. Council, I'm asking you to amend your requirements. Require the road improvements be completed prior to 25% of the docks being installed or 25% of the buildings being installed. I'm also going to ask you to remove the docks from the existing ramp area. Yes, you can. Just remember, Mr. Goodall stated that these docks attached to the existing landing will be built last after the bridge replacement project on Nashville Pike. He stated these docks will be moved and built at another location. Yes, that's what he said. Require an additional launch area near the fuel station from his property, which will ease traffic and safety concerns, and will be a great location for kayaks and jet ski launches, thus removing these from the limited parking area at the existing boat ramp. Finally, Mr. Goodall, when asked about short-term rentals, he went into a discussion about the owners would decide and they would make it and it'd be part of their covenants. He did not commit to you.
Don't name people personally, okay?
Okay?
All right, thank you.
You must require all condos to have a one-year lease requirement. Ordinance revisions recommended. Item 3, include prohibition of empty boat trailers in the parking lots. Require a 15-foot minimum height of evergreens at time of planning within 100 feet of the intersection of Douglas Bend and Fox and Harbor to screen the big parking lot. Modify to state 25% of either the boat dock slips or completion of facilities on item 13. Item 14 on your ordinance, modify to state 25% of either boat dock slips or completion of facilities. Item 15, plan to reflect relocation away from existing launch area for docks proposed at existing launch ramp. Item 16, add that item. Plan shall include a new launch ramp from the owner's property adjacent to Foxland Drive near fuel station for kayaks and jet skis. Signage at existing ramp shall provide guidance. Item 17, all condos should include a 1-year minimum lease condition. Item 18, all waste storage containers shall not be within 75 feet of Foxland Boulevard. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Dolores Davidson. I live at 433 Paisley Way, Gallatin. I moved there 9 years ago. I was looking for a home. I had moved from Nova Scotia. I was so pleased when I found my present home where I was at the end of a road. There was a farm next door to me. There were cows at the end of the road at the opening of our subdivision. It was peaceful. I have nothing financially to gain from an extension of Paisley Way. I want to talk to you about the quality of our life. And that's where we are going to be the losers. We are going to have so much more traffic. We're going to have people right on top of us. We have already gotten the other development in front of us. Where there were cornfields, now there are homes. And that's going to continue. Gallatin appealed to me because it was a quaint, lovely town where I felt safe, welcomed, and I really enjoyed it. If this growth pattern continues, I'm not going to feel the same way about Gallatin, and I don't believe that other people who have nothing to gain financially by all of this growth are going to feel that way either. So I hope you think twice before you continue this growth. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman and members of council, good evening. My name's Tom Lee. I'm a partner in the law firm of Nelson, Mullins, Riley, and Scarborough in Nashville, and I'm here tonight on behalf of Friends of Old Hickory Lake. You all have had, like we have, and the members of the public, about a week now with this traffic study. And I wanted to talk about some particular matters in it so that you might have questions to ask and that you can provide answers to your constituents as well. First, I want to talk about assumptions. The traffic count underlying the study was done in April of this year. It may or may not be the best month to measure what summer traffic looks like, but April it was. The number of trips from that count is as follows. The traffic study estimates 2,600 new trips each day generated by the Marina development. Now, it's important to note what that 2,600 trips represents. The study itself says that 78% of those trips are not going to come from the marina. They're going to come from the condominiums, they're going to come from the restaurants, and they're going to come from the retail. And if you're asking yourself why you don't have a marina yet, I think there's your answer. Who would build a marina and go through this work after it's already been permitted for 2 years for only 22% of the possible visitation to the site? That's why we're here. That's why we're having this conversation. But that additional development throws off this much traffic. Now, the plan says, no, it's not really 2,600 trips we need to be thinking about, it's 2,100. Where did that come from? That comes from a measurement called, I think of it like a discount. It's called the internal capture rate. And what it's designed to do is to estimate how many trips are going to be taken just inside the development. So people going from their house to the clubhouse, for example, or walking perhaps from their apartment to a restaurant. Well, here's the problem with that. The leading text in this work, which is actually cited in the traffic study, says that unless you have 100,000 square feet of building space in your mixed-use development, over 300 acres, then a discount rate of the internal capture rate is not appropriate for you. So we've discounted about 20% of the trip traffic from the get-go, and you need to think about that as we talk about what's coming next. The traffic study says the project will not be complete until 2028. So when the neighbors talk to you about the inconvenience of, upon them, imagine driving through construction traffic for 3 years. We'll talk more about what's going to happen to them later. This is the cascade. When you jam 112 condominiums, and respectfully to one of the previous speakers, just 2 months ago we were talking about hotels and dry docks. Now we're talking about condominiums, 20,000 square feet of restaurant and retail, 253 boat slips, and more than 450 vehicles on those parking places, all within 270 feet of Nashville Pike, 270 feet, less than a football field, from the highway to the entrance to the boat launch. Well, here's what the study says is going to happen. First, the westbound turn lane from Nashville Pike into Douglas Bend is going to, quote, begin to exceed available storage. That's traffic speak for more cars than the lanes can handle. The next thing that's going to happen is the northbound lanes on Douglas Bend Road turning onto Nashville Pike will exceed available storage. The plan has an answer for that, though. Take some of the southbound lanes that now allow for left-hand turns into the boat launch and expand those. This will do a couple of things. It will ensure long lines of traffic in front of the Shell station, which will block fuel tanker traffic, and the traffic report is rightly concerned about that. It says special care must be taken not to do that. Why? That's federal law. You can't interfere with the delivery of fuel. It'll also eliminate the left-hand turn into the boat launch. There will be a new median. And what does that do? It sends boat traffic southbound on Douglas Bend, past the launch, and into the neighborhoods themselves, where the roundabout will be. It will send trucks with trailers and boats down Douglas Bend Road and around what will need to be a very large roundabout to accommodate the vehicles, which means anybody who tries to get out of the neighborhood will be competing in boat season and marina season with boat traffic. And this marina, as you heard another speaker say, has one boat launch. This is a prisoner's dilemma. Every choice is bad. There is not a way out of this, and here's what I mean by that. You can't, if I may just 10 seconds, please, Mr. Vice Mayor. Very good. I encourage your vote no tonight. Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Evening, y'all. Chris Taylor with Forward Summer, 1598 Greenlee Boulevard. It's a nonprofit, does economic development, workforce, and infrastructure improvements. You had to suffer through me last week. I'm not going to torture you with the same thing again, so I'll just be succinct. I think anytime someone wants to do something in our county and any of our municipalities is a privilege. And because it's a privilege for them to be able to be here and be a part of it, they need to improve it, and they need to make it better. And they don't need to just make it better by building something. They need to actually make it better, an improvement. And so, like I said last week, I looked at what's the positives. Positives are, I've heard a lot of people talk about the infrastructure can't support the current traffic. I don't disagree with that. You have the opportunity right now with the development to get that infrastructure fixed. I'll be honest, I'm not an engineer and I'm not a head planner, but y'all have great ones. Brian and Nick do amazing work. I've had the privilege of being around them before and seeing what they do. Trust them. If they tell you what you need to do for traffic, it's going to be right, because they're not going to sit there and have something bad. As far as the amenities, obviously the economic development's great. It's going to bring in at a minimum of 35 to 50 jobs. It's going to bring in right at $500,000 for property and sales tax. And those are just very, very conservative numbers, and I sourced it through the state of Tennessee for everything, in case you're curious. It's going to bring in green space. It's going to bring in green space connectivity, playgrounds. I agree that the marina is sorely needed. I talked to Drake's Creek. I talked to Creekwood. Both are full with a year-long waiting list. So there may be some marinas that are open, but not on the Sumner County side. I would just ask you to please weigh the options. Is it going to be better or is it not? It's clearly going to be better. It's going to fix the infrastructure. It's going to bring in the ECD we want. It's going to bring in some workforce we need. And more importantly, like we talked about, it's going to be a catalyst for us being able to grab, hopefully, another corporate headquarters at some point. These are all things you have to have long-term planning for. I appreciate y'all weighing it out and thinking about it in that regards. Please approve it. It's a great project for the greater good of Gallatin, in the fact that it's going to bring a lot to us. And it will be an inconvenience for a degree, but so was it when they built Foxland. Thank you all very much.
Kelly Lane, 114 Star Court. Speaking on agenda item 1 regarding the rezoning that would allow for the Wedgewood Townhomes development. My neighbors are divided on one thing, whether or not that development should be connected to our neighborhood. I've spoken with 2 who live on Paisley this evening, 2 households that are against it. I spoke with 1 Paisley and 1 Star resident last week that were for it. What nobody's been divided on is that we don't like this plan. The density is too high and it puts commercial right next to our residents. I've heard previous council members referring to nearby townhomes. The ones off Walnut Crest aren't adjacent to our neighborhoods or Winston. There's 2 large green spaces on either side of the creek in between, and the single-family homes next to those are close in size to Winston. They're not that much bigger than the lots for those townhomes. This project puts townhomes you can fit 5 of on the property line right next to our neighborhood houses. Huge difference. Just a few years ago, you denied the request for the exception at Winston to create smaller lots. You can already fit more than 2 Winston homes on one of our lots in Fairway. And this also puts a commercial property literally in our backyards and adjacent to a home with 2 small children. I started getting a petition against this when we first found out about it. I got 16 signatures, and every person I talked to thought this was too dense and didn't want to see commercial. I stopped getting the signatures because it got pulled from the agenda. Since then, a city representative was on the news saying that dense housing is how we save green space. The ZOCO meeting happened praising the use of mixed-use development. So the idea that you would turn this down became much less hopeful. We were hoping that it would be similar to Winston, that you wouldn't approve the smaller lots. Even this zoning change zoning code doesn't allow their plan. You still have to give them an exception to make that happen. I don't want to see this zoning change approved as is. I don't want to see this plan approved as is. Unfortunately, and it was the feeling echoed by many of my neighbors that I spoke with, we're afraid that you're not going to hear us and you're going to approve it because you feel it goes forward with the idea for how Gallatin should move forward. But we ask that you don't approve this. If you do, I'd prefer to see more space between the housing and the residential, a larger buffer than is currently being proposed. I personally would be in favor of the Paisley-only connection. Some of my neighbors are against that, and I very much understand their concerns against it. Nobody in the neighborhood I've talked to wants to see Bernhard connected. Whether or not you connect the roads down the line, consider that, but I'd prefer you don't approve this at all. How would you feel if 5 houses were put down the side of your lot property line? How would you feel if a commercial building with commercial lighting all night long was stuck behind your house? That's what's happening. When we bought these properties, there was nothing but a cow field on one side, a farm, empty farmland on the second side, and a cornfield on the third side. We already have nexus being developed on one side of us. Winston Place has already gone in with lot sizes half the size of our neighborhood at the other end. Please be very considerate about what you put in next to us on the third side. 5 of those condos can fit on one of our lots. More than 2 of them could fit on one of the Winston Way lots. That is a huge density change in the consideration of what the character of the neighborhoods are. You denied Winston Place a smaller lot because it wouldn't fit with the character of our neighborhood. What's changed? Nothing. This doesn't fit with the character either. So please don't give them the exception and approve this. Thank you.
Good evening, council. I'm a bit under the weather. I wasn't going to come in tonight, but God had another plan. I got a letter on behalf of Jake Barr, resident at 831 Plantation Boulevard, and I'm presenting his letter for him tonight. Per Jake, to be clear, the following experience took place prior to any marina development, and it demonstrates the context we discussed at last council meeting, how independent decisions compound and create broader impacts. This past weekend, Jake Barr hosted his grandson's birthday party. This was not a holiday weekend. but an average weekend after the school year had already begun. The very special period described in the Marina proposal as a low-issue time. Jake's intention was to have small celebration at his pool in a cabana overlooking Old Hickory Lake. Unfortunately, the party was directly disrupted by 3 boats that tied together behind Jake's property. Not in the normal coves for parking and hanging out on the boat, like those coves were already all full. So the boats were just sitting out in the channel, which is very dangerous because of all the recreation in that channel. The boaters treated the area as if they owned it, blasting music, drinking, and floating loudly in the water. Jake respects the public right to enjoy the lake, but the music was so loud it reverberated off his home. His family waved and repeatedly asked them to turn it down, only to be met with disrespectful gestures and given the finger. The family was forced to take the birthday party celebration inside where the music was still clear word for word. Jake called TWRA to report both disrupting the peace and drinking violations. That call is on file. However, Jake was told by the TWRA only has 3 patrol boats to cover 440 miles of Old Hickory Lake shore, and none were nearby. In short, no enforcement was possible despite clear violations of the law. Context. The city of Gallatin does not control the lakefront enforcement, but it does own a patrol boat, which is used only on holidays. If laws are already enforceable at current usage levels, what happens when the marina capacity is added? Even at 20% occupancy, the proposed marina would introduce at least 50 additional boats in the same waters on a weekend. With short-term rentals in the mix, many boaters will be unfamiliar with the TWRA rules, further compounding safety and enforcement problems. Question: will the city of Gallatin or the developer request that TWRA fund and staff additional patrol boat to manage the increased boating challenges and protecting homeowners who live on the shoreline from the crime? Or will Gallatin commit to using its existing patrol boat as a season-long resource, not just on holiday asset to protect residents and maintain safe use of the lake? That's Jake's note. Respectfully, Jake Barr. I'd like to add a paragraph of my own. I'd also like to note that there were no fewer than 22 cars and trailers parked illegally on the grass at the boat launch Saturday. I notified every city council member and the mayor about this via text with pictures of the violations. These violations are a common occurrence due to small parking lot and a small single boat launch, which is too small by far. In response to my text pictures, members of city council sent me a picture and a video along with the following comments, and I quote directly, and I will not use names. They just announced the possibility of a new marina. Crowd erupted, estimated 5,000 people. The same councilman texted all of the city council members and said, announced possibility of a new marina. Crowd erupted, thousands are here. Another councilman then replied, it's not like that every weekend. I go there all the time. I'm at Foxland 4 days a week. This raises a concern for me. The comments about being at Foxland 4 days a week suggest there may be a potential conflict of interest for these councilmen regarding the proposed development. Thank you for your time.
Edwin Mims, 905 Ramsey Drive. Members of the council, mayor, I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you as I believe this matter for you is one of the most pivotal events in recent times as to where the city of Gallatin will be in years to come. I come before you with an even greater conviction for the safety and well-being for the citizens of Gallatin and the residents of the #1 community who use Douglas Bend as their primary route to Nashville Pike. Let's be honest, the exchange of property by the city of Gallatin with the developer making for the relocation Douglas Bend Road to the west did not benefit or enhance the safety of Douglas Bend Road. Let's be honest about that. It allowed the developer enough viable land to build a grand entrance into the Fox and Grasslands Boulevard. It has actually created two dangerous curves. An intersection at one of these curves, as the road currently exists, turn lanes in either direction are virtually useless since they're not long enough to accommodate a vehicle towing a boat trailer, thereby blocking both lanes of traffic and all vehicles behind it. I'd also like to point out that at present, persons traveling Nashville Pike and turning left to enter the convenience market are crossing over two double yellow lines, which is a violation of state motor vehicle law. I would also encourage you to personally go out and visit Douglas Bend Road and look at the inadequate ditch line along the eastern side that has been stopped up with debris for over 8 months now. This creates a very dangerous amount of water onto the roadway and vehicle hydroplaning. If you look on the other side of the road, you have sprinkler systems watering the now crumbling pavement in front of the apartments. See for yourself. It usually starts about 6 o'clock at night. If any of y'all want to see a video of it, I'd be glad to send it to you. This comment is no way directed to any department in the city of Gallatin. They all do an excellent job for the resources they have available. It's just, it's hard to manage everything y'all got going on in the city at the present time. Also, the fire department and the police department do an excellent job 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. On behalf of every citizen in the city of Gallatin, I'm asking that you pause moving forward until you have a complete, comprehensive road plan to allow for the number of vehicles traveling on Douglas Bend and the ingress and egress into the proposed development. This scope of this project is turned into several basic shops to complement Marina to an approximately 17,000 square foot shopping area in a residential golf community. Also to be included is a fast turnaround seafood restaurant, and investment properties can be short-term rentals. If you're really about the health, safety, and welfare of citizens of this city, I ask that you answer the following questions tonight. It was explained by a representative of the developer that boating season is Memorial Day through Labor Day. How can you have a business plan that generates a positive revenue stream 6 months out of the year and provides a stable tax revenue to the city of Gallatin? How can I justify the cost that will be incurred by the city for the additional emergency equipment to accommodate this development and the associated problems that currently shut down Nashville Pike in the event of an accident? It was stated in the most recent planning session that these shops would create jobs for young high school persons and young high school and college persons. If this is really a truly demand for job creation, I challenge you and the city of Gallatin to come up with an innovative way to expand the operation of the Tommy Garrett Pool to be open weekdays until Labor Day, and expand the days of operation of the Civic Center to include being open Sunday afternoon as it was in the past. Foxton and Douglas Bend area is a quiet recreational area. We do not need commercial establishments being brought into this residential area. We do not need condominiums that will be short-term rentals. We do not need any more establishments serving alcohol, and certainly no more music venues that will resonate loud music for miles into the early hours of the morning. 2 Saturdays ago, I was on the way home traveling from Nashville Pike onto Douglas Bend Road. I was approached by a vehicle on the wrong side of the road at 9:30 in the evening. I asked myself, how bad is it going to have to get on this stretch of road before there's a major crash with multiple deaths? Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Chandra Waller. I live at 1029 Albatross Way. Some members of the council have stated that those who are opposed to the current Foxland Harbor Marina proposal are just against all change. This is untrue. In fact, nearly everyone I have spoken to would not oppose a reasonably sized and adequately buffered and mitigated marina. However, this proposal is grossly oversized and overdeveloped. A small group of property owners will benefit to the detriment of the general public. There are many red flags that this property is being overdeveloped, including it requires multiple exceptions to city ordinances such as height, parking, building materials, lot coverage, use, etc. Height to 87 or 78, it's changed so many times, I don't know what you're really talking about, is completely out of character with the majority of buildings and homes in the subdivision. They're unable to provide adequate parking. Spaces for vehicles with boat trailers are nearly non-existent. Taking existing parking from the clubhouse close to Foxland Boulevard will result in parking for golfers and fitness center being gobbled up by the marina. The proposal to add parking far east of the event center just doesn't work. Improperly or unmitigated traffic resulting in increased congestion and dangerous intersections. Roadways have traffic studies warning that the proposed project will push levels of service below acceptable thresholds. Nearly the entire site is covered with buildings and parking lots. Landscaping is bare minimum. Commercial use requiring a major plan amendment is inconsistent with existing adjacent residential use. Property is not currently well maintained. Weeds, building materials, and trash cover the site. This has been reported many times over the last 4 months without resolution. Obviously, the developer believes he's above the law and likely will continue this behavior similarly in the marina. Community sentiment and public opposition. Many public comments, surveys, and petitions opposing the project have been shared with the Planning Commission and your council. Local Facebook groups have been formed specifically opposing the proposed marina development. There are frequent news station headlines or letters to the editor that have been aired calling out the overbuilding and elimination of current public use of the ramp. Early clearing of vegetation and grading has occurred before stormwater requirement approvals. There's advertising of the built project as coming soon for occupancy with amenities that you all haven't even approved yet. Note the Foxland Marina website. For those of you who support this project, I hope you have the opportunity to experience the traffic with an F service level, see the beautiful Foxland entryway destroyed and be replaced with baby bushes overlooking a Walmart-like parking lot, be unable to safely boat on the lake as a result of 250 additional boats, many will probably be wake boats, have a very difficult time finding a place to park for golfers and fitness center users, with the marina taking over much of that prime property, see the shoreline washed away, lose all public access to the current boat ramp, enjoy Nashville's lower Broadway tourist scene, with the condos being short-term rentals. I guess either you really aren't impacted or don't care or haven't read the detailed studies of what this proposal will bring to the city of Gallatin and the Foxland neighborhood and the people who live on Dove Bend. A smaller project suited to the character of the existing uses can be supported by area residents. Please do the right thing for your constituents and require right sizing, not supersizing of this project. Just don't line the pockets of a greedy developer.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, my name is Danny Hale. I live at 761 Plantation Boulevard here in Gallatin. And for the last 36 years, I've lived on Station Camp Creek there. First off Douglas Bend, and now on Plantation Boulevard. I was excited when Douglas Bend got a traffic light. I was excited when Walmart came to town. I was excited when Chick-fil-A opened. I was excited when the new Publix got built and the new Kroger's got built. because these are all quality of life issues. I was happy after Gallatin Marina got hit by a tornado and had to rebuild, and with the quality they came back with and how nice that facility is over there. I was excited when they added another light at Cage's Bend. I was excited when they added one at the entrance to Fairview. I was glad when they added one at Greenlee. And I'm excited about this marina. For 36 years, we've been right there. This will impact us. The boats will go by our home. All the shoreline from number 1 out to the channel is already riprap. We're not going to have any wash from that. There could be any number of people here proposing developments in the area. But the ownership group that's proposing this, they've been around Gallatin for a long time. They've employed thousands of people here. They've invested not just millions, but tens of millions of dollars into this community. And there's not one project that any of them have ever done that the city's not a better place because it's here. Gallatin needs another marina. It needs another restaurant. And I'm excited to see it. I hope you are too.
My name is Ruth Fennell. I live at 1049 Blue Jay Way in Gallatin. I'm here to speak on behalf of my neighbors in the Foxland and Fairview area. This community has been going on for plus 20, 30 years, so it's not new. But from my perspective, the marina itself is not the point per se. The point is the scope and scale of this project, including the traffic. I have been speaking before you multiple times about concerns for traffic and the infrastructure being able to handle it. And I know all of you, and all of you are nice, wonderful people, but we have some different perspectives on visions for this city. People may want to be on the wait list of some of this project, but when they're on the wait list to come and use the marina, they don't really have to deal with the traffic per se. My concern is people who live there being stuck there, and that's not right. Most people who live in the area, we all know, they don't see things until it's right in their face. They don't really pay attention to all the stuff that's going on until it affects them directly. But you have people in this room who are directly affected by that. And I find it ironic that they may now be experiencing what some of us have been trying to communicate for many, many years. And that is that traffic plans after the fact, traffic plans after you've started projects, are not smart leadership. It's not good leadership. I've talked about what Florida did 25, 30 years ago, where they planned before they approved things. We've got to catch up with that. For those saying that this is necessary to attract talent, I have probably 45 years in corporate environments. What people want now is not, ooh, we need a new gym. They want peace of mind. They want open space. They want cows next to their house. Yes, there's people who may want those things, but Gallatin already has a marina. We already have these types of things in this community. We're just not taking advantage of it. What would attract more people is a small town community that we are losing. And I cannot express this enough. My concern is you really have to ask yourself who benefits from these things. Who makes the profits? Who makes the money? Who has to deal with it? So who gets hurt? How many voices does it take? And how often do you have to hear them before you take it to heart from your community? You are asked to represent them, and they are telling you, they are begging you, they are screaming at you to please consider people being trapped in their communities, trapped in their neighborhoods, trapped in their homes because they can't get out. Make the traffic able to handle anything you do. I appreciate your time. I know how hard it is to do this, but I'm telling you, please listen to the people that are up here who are going to be directly impacted by this. Thank you.
Thank you, and I just want to say, I don't like getting up here and talking at all. My stomach is in a knot. I'm sorry. Christy Wilson, 1301 Dickerson Bay Drive. I'm right off Douglas Bend. I'm going to be affected greatly by this marina. My grandchildren will be affected greatly by this marina. Usually when people want a house with a boat dock, they buy one with a boat dock. If they're smart, they don't buy the house and then hope to get a marina approved, is my thinking. At least that's what we did. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but it's kind of the horse before the buggy. I'm a retired pediatric nurse. I lived in Nashville. I drove back and forth from Nashville when I found my house out on the lake with a little tiny little dock that I had a very hard time getting approved just to put a roof on. I don't understand. Well, first of all, the marina started out supposedly approved in 2008 for 60 private slips. Okay, that is what I heard. It might be a wrong number, but people are saying this has been going on for decades now, but the people on Douglas Bend haven't seen a sign posted saying major development is going to happen here at the end of your street. None of that has happened. So yes, it is a surprise to us. And some of us that work full-time with children for years in Nashville weren't attending city council meetings at night. I'm sorry, that's on me. I admit it. But there should have been a sign posted at the end of Douglas Bend. It affects Douglas Bend traffic. It's going to majorly affect our traffic. Already when I go into Gallatin and come back to make a left into Douglas Bend, I have been backed up all the way to the City of Gallatin sign. And this is before a marina. Then when you get in, Foxland Harbor has the streets built with medians this high. It's like you got to go through a little pinball machine with no lights at night along the first portion of it. People are getting flats and blowouts on these curbs, and now they're talking about putting a roundabout in there. Well, I just think that would be a nightmare. The attorney that got up and spoke about the concerned citizens was talking about the traffic study within Foxland Harbor. How about down Douglas Bend? There's 100 houses down the road, and Dickerson Bay, Windsor, all back there. All of them are going to be affected that travel out that way. Being a retired pediatric nurse, I see a lot of safety issues for our children and families on the lake. I've seen injuries come in from accidents on the lake. Not too pretty things. I don't think we want that. If we're going to be renting wave runners, pontoon boats, and all that right there in that little small creek, and there's going to be a restaurant and drinking and people just partying and going crazy on wave runners right there in the creek, that is not safe for our children or families there. Not to mention the music being played so loud, like another person mentioned, and the lyrics, as you know, are not very nice for a lot of the things that are being blasted out to our homes already. More of that is not good. A day spa, do we really want another day spa in Gallatin? I already know of 2 right here. We actually have a doggy hotel and spa. Do we need that? I don't think we need another day spa. There's a restaurant within Foxland Harbor subdivision now that I believe is still open to the public. I'm not sure. I've dined at it about 3 times in over 20 years or since it was built. Has anyone else? I mean, how's that business doing? How is that restaurant business doing? Are they making a lot of money there? Is there a need for another restaurant, coffee shop? If you've got the Shell gas station where people are already cutting out when you're coming down Douglas Bend, with the boat ramp right across from it, it's already dangerous. I mean, are you kidding me? It's just not safe. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. I'm April Walls at 1039 Goldfinch Trail. I want to reach out. Move down. No, I don't want a stool. I'm okay. Can you hear me now? All right. I feel like a Verizon commercial. Anyway, I am reaching out to you all for the marina. I've been a real estate agent for 26 years. I've sold a lot of Gallatin. That lake out there is a big draw for people looking to find their forever home. We have now roughly 50,000 or nearly 50,000 residents in Gallatin. And 1 in 4 of those Gallatin residents are likely prevented from storing boats and trailers at their home. 85% of homes, excuse me, do not allow boat parking at their residence. So this marina would fulfill that need. So I know you all know this, but recently, final approvals, 3,894 units. And currently under construction is 7,473 units. Most of those are HOA governed subdivisions. And so I called the Gallatin Marina the other day for a client wanting to store a 24-foot boat. There was 1 slip, so I don't know where the numbers are coming from. Somewhere somebody has gotten some misinformation. And as far as the Corps of Engineers, they don't give those boat slips away. Not because you live on a lake do you get a boat slip. And for them to approve so many slips that they have approved, I feel that's a clear indicator that we should move forward with this, and I hope you all will see fit to support it. Thank you.
Anybody else willing to speak, wants to speak? Anybody? All right, this time public recognition is closed. Mayor's comments.
I'll mention just a few things that are coming up because there are some really great things. Third Thursday on the Square is this week. It's Canon Cox, not someone I'm familiar with, but someone I've heard good things about. It starts at 6:30. Excuse me, goes until 9. This Friday is Good Morning Gallatin with Scott Langford, Sumner County Director of Schools. That's at the station at 7:30. This is really not a public event, but it's something that I think bears mentioning for our community. Dr. Brian Bondurant is celebrating his retirement this weekend. And so I wanted to mention that that is on the 27th of August. If you've ever been, well, not you, but if you've ever had a pet that has been a patient of Dr. Bondurant, you might want to reach out and wish him well or attend that retirement party. That's on the 27th from 3:30 until 5. I can't even think how long he served this community, but for a long, long time as I can recall. Coming up, reminder that the market day at the Gallatin Farmers Market continues each Saturday from 9 until 1. The Gallatin Outdoor Flower Market is on Thursday evenings. On the 1st is Labor Day. Most city offices will be closed. Trash will be delayed a day that week. And on the 3rd, there is a Coffee and Connect through the Gallatin Chamber, but it's with Amy Nixon with Historic Downtown Gallatin. And I thought that might be interesting. That's at Cafe 393. Miss Jenna Landstrom's birthday is coming up on the 5th. And the Gallatin High School Homecoming Parade and Home Game. A warning to those who are new in Gallatin and are often surprised that we still have a homecoming parade. Yes, we do, don't we, Hollis? And Hugh and Smothers will be honored at halftime at that ball game on that night. But we do have a homecoming parade. It goes through the middle of town. I think it's at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So look for lots of homecoming festivities. And then on the 6th is the Doggy Paddle Pool Party at the Tommy Garrett Aquatics Facility, the Food Truck Festival at the Civic Center, and Child Safety Day at Triple Creek Park. Just a few of the things that are upcoming. Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor Hayes, for standing by until I could get here. We're going to move now to the agenda, and the first item on the agenda is public hearing on Ordinance 02507-41, and to introduce that, I recognize Councilman Carter.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance of the City of Gallatin, Sumner County, Tennessee, rezoning 2 lots totaling 10.18 plus or minus acres from the R15 medium density residential district to the MU mixed use district with the preliminary master development plan for the Wedgewood Townhomes located south of Red River Road and east of Highway 109, authorizing the revision to be indicated on the official zoning atlas, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. And I now declare this public hearing open.
Public hearing is now open. If you wish to speak to this, you may come forward at this time. I know that some of you spoke under public comment. Public hearing on Ordinance 02507-41 is now going to be closed. Moving to item 2 is public hearing on Ordinance 02507.
Get someone moving.
Go ahead. It's now open.
Thank you. I'm Amber Houskey. I live at 434 Paisley Way. While we are not thrilled about the high-density plan, we have seen the plan, and we do want to extend again our thanks to everyone who considered the planning and especially not connecting our small neighborhood to the new development. We appreciate the thought that went into that. We ask that you would keep, if you're going to do the high density there and you have the map of the townhomes, I watched those from a previous meeting that we weren't able to attend. We would just ask that you continue to keep us in mind as you have in the planning and not connect Paisley to the new development so that we have at least a less of an impact from the high density that could potentially go there. Thank you.
Thank you. Public hearing is still open if there's anyone that would like to speak. Okay, public hearing on Ordinance 02507-41 is now closed. Item 2 is public hearing on Ordinance 02507-42. Councilman Juance is recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. It's an ordinance of the City of Gallatin, Sumner County, Tennessee, zoning 11.965 acres to the PGC Plan General Commercial District, 33.167 acres to the MU Mixed Use District, and 38.683 acres to the R10 PRD Medium Density Residential Plan Residential District, and approval of preliminary master development plan for the Station Camp Master Plan on 5 parcels totaling 83.82 acres located north of Highway 386 and west of Big Station Camp Boulevard, authorizing the revision to be indicated on the official zoning atlas, repealing conflicting ordinance, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. And I declare this public hearing open.
Public hearing is now open on ordinance 02507-42. If you would like to speak, I invite you forward at this time. Okay, seeing no one indicating that they wish to speak, public hearing on ordinance 02507-42 is now closed. Item number 3 is second reading on ordinance 02507-43. Councilman Jones, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance appropriating $54,862.92 from revenue received from insurance for damaged vehicles. Motion to move.
Second.
A motion by Councilman Jones, second, I believe, by Councilman Juvance. Any questions, any discussion? Okay, this is second reading on ordinance 02507-43. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Does pass unanimously on second reading. Item 4 is second reading on ordinance 02507-44. Councilman Fan.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance awarding bid and authorization funds in the total amount of $1,020,000 from water sewer reserves for the WWTP Clarifier Launderer Covers Project, contract 325, and I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fan, second by Councilman Alexander. Is there any question or is there any discussion? Are there any I'm gonna get this straight. Is there any discussion? Are there any questions? Okay, this is second reading on ordinance 02507-44. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. It is unanimously passed on second reading. Item number 5 is second reading on ordinance 02507-45. Councilman Fennell.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance appropriating $30,000 from the occupancy tax reserve to tourism special events. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fennell, second by Councilman Juvance. Again, I will mention, I think that this is I think that it's very, very generous of this body for a first-time event. I'm very excited about the event. I do think it'll be fabulous. When Ms. Landstrom brought it to you, she had asked for $15,000, but it is the will of this body. Ms. Hamid-Holly.
Yes, I just would like to say to this body that I just found out today. I thought that we were making a donation and that the event was going to go forward by this nonprofit or by this organization. I have found out today that they're wanting the city to co-sponsor, or it's being advertised as a city co-sponsor. We don't have an agreement. We don't have insurance. I think there are a lot of issues that need to be resolved, and I think that it would be prudent for us to defer this matter until we can get those issues resolved. Or you at least need to amend it to require insurance and agreement, some security, and some different measures.
When is the event?
It's in October, and I asked Ms. Landstrom, and she thought that October 10th, she thought a deferral would not impact.
Make a motion.
And we did discuss, I recall, Ms. Bates was there as well. I do recall in our discussion about it being a donation, it had to be to a nonprofit. And I don't know that it's required of them that we co-sponsored. I think that that was something that they were asking for us to do to be nice, or asking if we wanted to do. But, you know, I do recall the discussion about it needing to be a nonprofit. I would agree with Ms. Hamid-Holly that it is most prudent to make sure that we iron these things out before we pass it on second reading. Councilman Carter, you're recognized.
I'm all for deferring it to get the details worked out, but I wanted to make an amendment to decrease that amount back down to $15,000, which is what Ms. Lindstrom originally asked for.
Motion by Councilman Carter.
I'll second for discussion.
Okay, second by Vice Mayor Hayes, opening that for discussion.
How would you want to do that, Stephen?
Because that was what her original ask amount was.
I can share that since that, I have had calls from other people hosting events that also would like money from the city. And, you know, we have our community enhancement grant application process that we go through for nonprofits. Typically, This particular organization was not yet formed when we did those earlier this year. Again, I think it is a fabulous event. I think it'll be tremendous. I have great hope that it will grow into a very, very successful event. And in future years, we could be, willing to fund it at a greater amount. But, Councilman Jones?
Thank you, Mayor. On what you just said about nonprofit, I was at the meeting and they actually asked money, and the comment was, we're not going to give them money there because we probably will use hotel tax or something in that staff, and that's why we didn't give them money at the nonprofit at that time, because we were thinking that would have been more appropriate to get money out of the tourism, that nonprofit. But correct me if I'm wrong, the initial ask was 13 and was toned down to 15, but I think the initial ask was 13, was 35.
I don't know that it was the ask from
Ours was 15.
The ask from Ms. Landstrom was 15. Our discussion with them was that they expected the cost to be 30. But, I told them even in that initial meeting, I wasn't thinking that this body would, or that it was appropriate.
We still got a little time to do that.
We do. I don't recall that same discussion from when we did the community enhancement grant applications, but I could clear that up between now and when you do vote on the second reading. Right now we have a motion and a second to amend that. So, I guess we can,
And I want to mention that I'm serving on the airport board, so, and that's related to the airport, but I think, and like I said, during airport, I would have loved the airport to put a chunk of money on it, because that's going to benefit them too, but that would be good that we put what they need, so we have a great event who can go year after year and bring more and more and more. And we have all that money we sit in there will not be used, we can actually use and make sure the event go to the top right away. And I think it's why get it short and risk to go the opposite, to get an event who's not going to be at the expectation that we're going to require, and now we're losing something the next year. I think I will be voting no on the amendment. I think we need to give the full amount.
Anyone else on the amendment before we vote?
And I'm okay with deferring if we need to, following legal advice.
Okay, on the amendment, all in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
No.
I think, were there no's over here?
Can we get a roll call?
Okay, roll call, Ms. Goodwill, please.
Vice Mayor Hayes,
Yes.
Councilman Alexander,
No.
Councilman Carter,
Yes.
Councilman Fan,
Yes.
Councilman Fennell,
Yes.
Councilman Jones, Councilman Juvance,
No.
Mayor 5-2.
I would offer, never mind. I do not.
Someone needs to.
Motion to defer.
A motion to defer by Councilman Carter,
Second.
second by Councilman Fennell. If during the future discovery of information, you determine that that amount should be changed again, you certainly, I'm just sharing what I thought was appropriate from our discussion. So I have a motion to defer, a second. Anybody else want to discuss the motion to defer? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. We didn't say when to defer. I'm going to say
Defer for what?
till the next council meeting.
Next
Is that
council?
cool with everybody?
Agreed.
Okay. Let me make that note. Okay. Item number 6 is first reading on ordinance 02507-40. Vice Mayor Hayes, you are recognized.
This is an ordinance of the City of Gallatin, Tennessee, approving the amended preliminary master development plan for Fox and Harbor Marina on 7.38 acres located south of Nashville Pike and east of Douglas Bend Road, authorizing the revision to be indicated on the official zoning atlas, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. Motion to approve so we can discuss.
I have a motion to approve by Vice Mayor Hayes, a second by Councilman Carter, opening the floor for discussion.
Yeah, can we get Nick up here, Tuttle, to talk about the traffic a little
Mr.
bit?
Tuttle, would you mind?
Sir.
Thanks, Nick. First question. We had a couple people talk about, I know that they said something about putting traffic, four-way stop in. You came back, talked about a roundabout. What was your comment about that, about going from a grade to a grade?
I thought you said it was an athlete.
That's why I'm.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
All right, never mind, I'm gonna defer.
No, I'm sorry. You answered that. I was confused when I heard that tonight. I apologize. I should have just let you keep doing the meeting.
So for clarity, the background traffic and the projected traffic would put the level of service at Douglas Bend and Fox and Boulevard at a level service F. The always stop brought the level of service up to a D in the AM hours and a C in the PM hours, with still a level of service F for the particular route heading north. So if you're coming from the county and heading towards Nashville Pike, you would still have a level of service F for that particular route through the intersection. But level of service D or C, depending upon AM and PM peak. If you put the roundabout in, you are level of service A during the AM peak and level of service A during the PM peak. So both. So you would go from no improvements at all, level service F overall, to, if you did the roundabout, level service A.
Okay, that's what I thought you had said last week, but a couple people kept saying F to a D and nothing above a D, so, all right.
I thought that might be the difference between the peak times and the rest of the
Anybody have anything
time,
else
but
for him?
Thank you for the clarification.
No.
Any other questions for Nick, Councilman Juvance?
We're talking about roundabout, and do you know how big that roundabout is going to need to be?
Not at this time. No, we haven't gotten to the details. I have assumed approximately 110 feet for the diameter of the roundabout. That is what I have suggested to the applicant at this point in time, but we haven't gotten into any detail, just based on some other sizing of roundabouts that we have experience with.
110 feet would cover anything, right?
Yes, depending upon the design speed that you want to use for it. If you want to allow people to move through there at, say, on average 25 miles an hour, you're going to need something bigger.
I'm talking about a boat, big boat,
Yes.
semi-trailer,
Correct.
double wide deal coming down the road if they want to put double wide in the back of Douglas Bend, Cage Bend, something like that.
Passing straight through would be fine,
Everything.
but if you're going to try to turn a double wide around in the roundabout, unless we put, some kind of monster out there, I don't.
The point is, we just want it big enough to where it's going to handle.
Yeah,
trucks and
Correct, yeah, we understand what we're asking for with this roundabout.
I think you're short on your size, but we'll talk about it later. I've actually numbers.
Right, we got a long way to go on that piece. Yeah.
There is enough room for something even bigger than 110, correct?
I believe you could get up to 130 without really impacting any of the landscaping and things that are out there, so.
I'd rather go bigger than smaller.
What's the time frame on that? Doing the roads as far as the project and all that?
That is for the final master
Oh, the final
development plan phase, to know the exact timing.
I don't know what the development schedule is, but the recommendation in which Councilman Javance made a motion to change the recommendation from their traffic engineer, but the recommendation for the traffic engineer was no later than 25% of this particular phase of development. We would have to figure out what that means because you've got kind of
Marina,
a pretty special development. It's not an average development where you're just developing single lots or things of that nature. So,
Is that something you can find out in the next week or so and let us know?
sure.
About what
We can
25%
talk
of that development
with
would be?
them a little bit more about what they think that means for them, I don't know what the schedule for their development is and how that would work out. Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Further questions for Mr. Tuttle?
Yeah.
I got one for Brian, but go ahead.
Rose?
You got something?
No, you can go ahead with Brian first. I'll get mine in later.
Thank you.
Mr. Rose, clarify for us about the height of the condos. I guess my question is, are they going to be the exact same height as the existing 4 condo buildings at Reverie?
Yes. They're designed essentially the same as the existing Reverie project, so they're not asking for anything different than what was done for that. The only difference really is they were originally calculating to the top of the building, and because our regulation only asks for them to calculate to the middle point, that's the difference in the height request.
May I ask what the height was that was approved in the initial plan, or do you even know that off the top of your head?
87 feet.
And the plan for the existing condos on this site, not the other ones?
Even on the current one where it had been approved at 87 feet as well. Yes.
Can I-
The 4 condo buildings that were approved a few years ago, that did get an approval for 87 feet.
But as the topo showed, the buildings actually from the lake are dropping down because of the topo, and the lowest one that drops down is 25 foot under.
So, yes, if you're looking topo-wise, the tops of the buildings may be lower, but from the lowest grade to the point where you're measuring to will still be that distance.
I think in the scale drawing that they showed last meeting, they look similar in height. And so I didn't know if there
Same
were
number of
some.
stories.
I know it's the additional buildings, but I didn't know if the first buildings on that side had been that same height. So that's what I was unclear on.
It's the same number of stories. The stories are the same, height each. The roof structures, this is pretty much the same. Really, the only difference may be how big the distance is between that lowest floor and where the lowest grade is on the outside.
Are there questions for Mr. Rose while he's up here? Councilman Javance?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm confused there on that because on the notes, on the staff note, it said that on February 24, 2020, Planning Commission approved an amended preliminary master development plan for Foxland Phase 2 and FMDP for every point at Foxland Arbor Phase 2.4. The plan modified building C and D of the former Phase 2.3B from 6-story to 5-story and reducing the maximum building height from 87 to 68 feet.
But
So which one we're talking about here?
The approval had been at 87. They just had amended it at some point to change that. So they were looking
So
at
if that got
doing
amended,
something
right now
different.
the approval is at 68, not 87.
Again, those were differences of the request back then. However, there had been an approval at the 87 height, is what I'm saying. Questions?
Let me ask one more question too, about the density of the project. We keep hearing different things, like back in 2008, it was approved for this, now it's this. Is it less density now than it was from 2008? Do you know that?
Yes. They had gotten an overall layout and concept for about 300 homes. I think it was like 284 or something like that. They quoted last week 210. I'm not sure what numbers they were looking at, but there had been multiple different types of units, and it had been much higher than the 112, which is what they're asking for now. So the density is definitely a lot less than what had been previously given back then. Now, 64 of those units were more recently approved with the 4 condo buildings that were already approved, but they had gotten previously approval.
Ms. Rose, might be prudent for you to hang out nonetheless. We can continue with discussion. Councilman Chubance.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing for you. Thank you, sir. Plenty of things. Again, I go back to that. If they wanted 68 feet, we should stick to that. But I don't really have an issue with all the condos staying at the same size. But I think the commercial should not have an exemption, and they should stay at 35 feet. I think Nick approached that. I was wondering how we're going to define 25% of the project. Does that going to include the boat slips or not? We need to figure that out. We heard a lot about short-term rentals, so I have a question for Susan on that one, because last week we heard from the developer that unit condo will have only 1 parking assigned per unit. So if they have 1 parking assigned per unit and we follow our ordinance, there cannot be any short-term rental in the building except if they have 1-bedroom units only, where I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see a project that magnitude having only studios or 1-bedroom apartment, because the ordinance is clear. They need 1 assigned parking per bedroom or per 1,000 square foot of living space, or 1 space per bedroom, whichever is greater. So that, on my view, that's solved. If they don't have a 1-bedroom unit, that solves the issue. I'm reading that right?
It's really more of a planning issue, but I'd be happy, to get a permit, they would have to meet what is required by our ordinance. Yes,
Yeah.
but I will let Mr. Rose answer that.
So I think the difference from what they had said, I think that may be just misleading a little bit. They made the statement about the 1 parking spot within the building being assigned to each unit. Those are permanent spaces that are only reserved for those units. But the units themselves do also use the parking spaces out in the lot. And so the number of spaces is still at least 2 for each unit. It's not the 1 per unit, if you can kind of calculate it that way. They just won't be dedicated and reserved for that person right then and there. But the number of parking stalls is there and available for that.
So let me go back to what you just said. That stuff changed so much that how many condos are we gonna have? It's 212.
112. 112.
112 condos. I have to disagree on your comment that they can use other parking space, because if we do that, we open ourselves to that means I have an apartment somewhere, I have 2 bedroom, I just have 1 parking sign, and I'm gonna say, back there is another parking lot who's not even on my property, but hey, my short-term rentals can park there, because it's not assigned to me, it's assigned to anybody, but I can use it and say, that's where I park my so I kind of disagree, but that's probably illegal.
It's just like any apartment complex that doesn't necessarily give you an assigned parking space, which not every apartment complex does. You're going to just have the availability to park somewhere within their lot. And same thing with this. You get 1 designated parking spot that's for sure assigned to you, but then if you have an extra vehicle, you might have to park a little bit further out in order to be able to use that. That's the only thing. But the spaces will be there.
You're looking at me, and that's just something that, I will need to look at with our,
Yes, please.
with our ordinance, our zoning ordinance, and how it's going to be. I don't know if we know at this time. I certainly don't know, because I haven't studied it that much to see, and I doubt that it's designated right now how many parking spaces each is going to have. But they would have to meet our ordinance to get the permit.
The calculations have been done so that they do meet the regulations for all the different uses on the site to be able to be accommodated by what's been proposed.
I would like to get off on parking too, if I can, a little bit. Are you through, Pascal?
No, but go ahead.
I'm fine, go ahead.
I'm good, Brian, thank you. Yeah, another issue on parking, the boat ramp space, 25 parking space. Of the picture I've seen, that's not gonna be enough, but that's another different stuff. Go on parking, because I want to go back.
That's what I'll talk about. So Saturday morning, I got up and I wanted to put an extra boat in the water, top at my dock. So I was at the boat ramp, seen a lot of crowd, knew something special was happening. My son had already took off in 1 boat to go to the event. I wanted to get out in my boat and go over there, and then he said, "Dad, there's no way you can get your boat over here or tie up. There's just that many people." Well, looking out in my backyard, I've lived on the lake for 13 years. This is my second house on the lake in Fairview. Usually when it's a pretty day, and if it's a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, and you look out in your back and you see 50 or 100 boats, and you know it's going to be a lake day. Well, when I looked out there, I didn't see hardly any boats. So I knew something was going on, because if you think about it, most of the summer has been a wet summer. There hasn't been much boat activity out there at all until here recently. So I had a jet ski come and pick me up, rode out to the event, and it was put on what I was told by St. Jude. And they was raffling off a boat, and they had a pontoon boat out there, and they had a stage set up. They had a drone flying. They counted, I think, 367 boats out there, and there was thousands of people. I did receive some pictures from one of the citizens over there about the boat ramp being overcrowded, and I sent him the pictures back and the caption. I'm the one that done that, just to let him know there was an activity, an event happening on the lake. And at that event, they announced there's people there from out of state. A boat tied up next to my son was from Maryland. How they like the lake, how they like the area. So I think our lake is really underused and under-advertised, but I think the lake is a huge draw. I know it is. People was complimenting All Daddies. People was complimenting Lock 4. They launched boats over there. They launched boats everywhere. And then they announced the possibility of a new marina, and people was excited about that. So was I. And I got to thinking about that boat ramp over there, and I made a few phone calls. If you think about it, Nat Caldwell Park, right across the street. Now, I've taken my pontoon boat and I've taken a ski boat under the bridge, and I just went over there and looked at there, because I remember when my father he was one of the first ones that worked on the lake in 1957 when he was in high school, when they brought the lake to Sumner County, and he worked on the dock. but I've seen the pictures that the mayor has shown me. I remember when I was a kid, I remember the ramp being over there. I remember that being a park. And I often go over there and just dream about one day I'd like to see this cleaned out and brought back to its glory and the threshold coming into to Gallatin. Well, I got to looking and thinking, one way that we might have an opportunity to free up some of the park in that boat ramp, I think it's very possible you could go over there next to that bridge and that other part, and you could put a boat ramp right there. And there might be a little dredge that needs to be done in that area, but you could launch a boat right there, and you could have a lot of parking over there. But usually that boat ramp right there, I'm over there all the time, and there again, it goes back to what I think Mr. Reed said, is usually when you have an event from Memorial Day to Labor Day, that's when a lot of the lake seems like it's being used. Wintertime, I see there's people out there water skiing, believe it or not, practicing on the ski course every day on Christmas. But I do see hunters out there, and that's the wintertime you see the duck boats and whatnot at the boat ramps and stuff. But I do believe we have an opportunity to take some of the pressure off of that boat ramp if we was able to link up with a Corps of Engineers. I mean, it's a possibility. And I think there's an overall plan that I have not seen of the development or the possible development of that part of the lake, and I think it does incorporate a ramp in that area. But I just wanted to clear that up about the boat ramp over there.
And I appreciate you send that Saturday, because when I watched the video that got back public comments the week before, when that's basically what people are afraid of, is this kind of stuff, overpacking of boats, loud music, non-controlled. And if what I heard on public comment that TWRA have this little amount of boat to cover that amount of lake, for me, that's, that scares me, because how are you going to handle, if something had been, 363 boats, if you had, the 200 or 300 more there, and something had gone wrong, how are we going to handle that? So that's a big safety issue. But I want to go back on the traffic and a roundabout. I come from France, where roundabout is a way of life. And I was driving a roundabout before you probably heard about a roundabout. And when you're able to drive on the Arc de Triomphe roundabout, who has, I don't know how many entry, but I think there is 12 entry on that roundabout with no marking line. It's all pavement and stuff. You've probably seen that, been there. That is scary, but you learn how to do it. So I kind of become an expert on roundabout, and but because I'm not an expert on towing boats, I kind of looked into it, and I have to respectfully disagree with Nick on that, on the size, because all the study I made, because the factor we forgot on that too is if we do the change of traffic the way it's written, we forgot about the Shell gas station. Nobody's talking about that. The Shell gas station has one entry, one exit. The exit is on Douglas Bend. That means fuel truck gonna enter there. It's gonna have to go all the way to the roundabout to turn. It's not gonna be able to turn left. We're gonna put something in the middle of the road. That's what the plan is.
No, we specifically limited that median from going up to cover that entrance. They don't, the entrance to the Shell station and the entrance to the boat ramp do not line up. So you can restrict that left turn movement into the ramp without affecting the driveway into the gas station.
I think that's gonna be even worse. Because now we're gonna let people turn right there to go to the left with, yeah, I don't think that worked, but anyway, on the side of the roundabout, and I looked at books and stuff on traffic, they use the term WB67 design.
It's a regular tractor trailer with a 53-foot.
53-foot trailer. So the recommended dimension for a 53-foot trailer, if you have a single lane, it's between 130 and 180 feet. And if you have a double lane, it's between 150 and 220 feet. So if we want margin, I mean, we have to go to the 200-foot roundabout. Because again, we're gonna look at construction traffic, we're gonna look at, we need to be able to accommodate for semi, if they go there, to bring equipment, all that stuff. So even if you go to the 180, that's a big chunk of roundabout, and that's going to be expensive too to build. That's not cheap. So now I have a picture there to see what that is on the computer, but I will send it to you so we don't waste time. But yeah, that's not going to be a small roundabout for sure. And even with that, I don't think that's going to work. I just, because again,
Well, as Mr. Tuttle said, it has not been engineered yet, and I'm sure we can all create scenarios. I mean, I don't know the diameter of the roundabouts where I'm used to, but I see huge boats being trailered through there all the time. They're right next to a marina. There's like 4 consecutive roundabouts on 41, and that would actually be some good distances to look at. I don't know how big they are, but people go through them all the time. They're double lane ones.
We'll be able to see or something as it gets closer
Well,
to a
again,
rendering or something.
it needs to be
I know.
engineered. I mean, we can speculate about how big we think it might be all day long, but it needs to be engineered to figure it out.
I trust him. He's
I'm
got
not
a
an
degree
engineer.
in that.
I
Not
was
an
gonna say the
engineer.
same. Nick didn't have to get up, but Nick, you have a degree in engineering, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. I got a lot of things I do, but I don't have an engineering degree. So.
You know, another thing I'd like to bring up, if anybody else was ahead of me, is the entrance. I mean, I did see a picture of that entrance, and we had one person stand up and said it wouldn't be much to it, but I thought the entrance, the rendering I seen was actually looked better than the entrance that is there now, and I really like the entrance that is there now. Another thing, to be fair, and maybe I didn't hear everything, because I did receive emails out there that was saying that roundabout was going to be a D and a F like Craig was talking about, and I'm glad we cleared that up. The entrance, I feel comfortable with that. You know, one thing, to be all fair, and maybe I didn't hear it or something, but one of the citizens stood up there and said that Mr. Goodall said it wasn't any of our business about a proposal on the docks. I never did hear a statement like that at all. Did any of you guys hear anything like that?
No, I don't think he said it like that. I think the discussion was, and I think Ms. McCall actually may have spoken to it at that time, if not at another time, that the council cannot force restrictions on any kind of HOA or neighborhood beyond what our city restrictions are. That is the property owner and the developer and the neighborhood.
And you know, another thing too, so many of us says, well, we haven't been thinking about this. I've been on this council for a long time, certainly not as long as Craig, but I think I'm probably second in line for the oldest now. But we've had more discussion about this marina in the last 3 or 4 years than I have any other project than we've done in the city of Gallatin. I feel that we have really asked a lot of good questions, and I think that the developers come a long ways in trying to get a plan that we can all live with. You know, it's a hard decision that we've got to make.
You weren't around when Walmart came in. That's 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes.
I did raise my eyebrows when Mr. Hale said that about Walmart.
I'm kind of wondering if we shouldn't make, since we have Mr. Joe Vance on the council now, and he's so,
Councilman Fan.
Keep going, please.
we could make the engineering department a part-time job, because we got somebody here now that knows.
Well, let's not be smart.
Yeah, at least, you know, traffic bring opportunity, we know that.
Did you say something smart? I didn't understand you, so if you did, please don't say something smart.
But I was trying to bring up everything that have been emailed about, and another thing was the lay down water. You know, when I was on the Lock 4 side in Fairview, Lord help, I mean, that traffic coming out of there, and I do get it. My boat dock, I would have to have work done on it. It broke my lift, and people right up next to your dock. I understand, but where I'm at now in the ski cove, it's got that sign out there, and the water is a lot more peaceful. So when Mr. Reed said that he has talked to the Corps and it was up to the TWRA that they can extend that out a half a mile, I think it's going to help that water over there a whole lot. And another thing too, I see that I know we've only got one unit on the lake, and I'm glad that we all agreed on putting that out there, but I do see the police presence helping down on a lot of that stuff, but you're still going to have people in that area that's just a little bit too wild. I mean, it's always going to happen, I guess, where you're at.
Alexander?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't think it was Mr. Goodall that made the comment. I think it was someone from his team that did. First of all, I don't think it was Mr. Goodall, but I did talk to the person who said it. So
okay,
I didn't care for that. As someone whose quality of life has been greatly impacted by a large development in their backyard, I was asked the question, what would it take for me to be in favor of this project? And my answer was simply, bring me something smaller. It's just the scope of it that's too big. And it's a lot of cars, and traffic concerns are something long before I sat in this seat, when I stood at that podium, every project, and talked to the council about traffic concerns. The Public Works and Stormwater was cleaning the ditches on Lock 4. They'd taken their life in their hands. That was a scary place to be, cleaning out the ditches and to help with the stormwater. And so they were concerned, and my admonition to them was, guys, please be careful. There's a lot of cars going down Lock 4, and we know that we haven't even built banks of Lock 4 yet. So I'm not a fan of the entrance, the roundabout, the way we're doing the entrance to the boat ramp. It concerns me. Many years driving a 1-ton dually, pulling a 32-foot boat trailer. I love my Chevys, but they don't turn. So, it's those kind of things are always in my mind because I've had to deal with them for years. And so those are just part of the reasons I'm not in favor of this project. That's it.
Thank you. Councilman Javanski again.
Thank you, ma'am, because I got cut off on where I was. So
I apologize. It's hard to keep up.
I'm gonna go back. again, I'm not an engineer, but a gentleman a couple of weeks ago, I'm nice, I'm just saying I'm not an engineer. It's true. Was talking about context. And that's what I said for years now, that there is a difference on what's on a paper and what's happened in real life. And you probably know that. You can dig a ditch and there is nothing there, and suddenly you find an old pipe was not noted somewhere, and you go through it, and that's different what the paper and what real life. Like we got told there would not be no traffic on Longolo Park, and I assure you, come on Longolo Park now and see there is no traffic there. A couple of years ago, I couldn't go down my driveway, make a right turn, and now sometime I wait for 40, 50, 60 cars before being able to turn there. So it's all about context. The parking is going to be a nightmare the way it's presented. And to go back on the short-term rental, as Mr. Goodall last week, to look into, make us a written statement. So, I still would like to see that before the next time. Sorry, I can't hear you, Mayor.
I said, let's keep our comments between each other. You're debating one another, not trying to.
Yes, Mayor. So I still have the same issues were not resolved. The traffic is still an issue. I don't think what's on a paper is going to work. And I have no doubt that's going to be, if it's built, it's going to be a good bill because, I know the kind of product you're doing, and I know it's going to be a good product, but that's not the issue here. The issue is that everybody who came, except the few who are direct interest on what's going to happen, ask the same thing. They ask that project to be downsized. They don't say they don't want it. They say they want it downsized. And they're right. I don't think the size of that project is right for what's going on there, but that has been the same issue here for years. That the same thing we hear all the time. People are not against development. They're against the way the development is done. And there is no, we always talk, we're going to approve and we'll deal with traffic after. We'll find a solution, but we don't find solutions because the traffic is getting worse and worse and worse and worse every day. And that's where the problem is. And like I say, I don't mind the condos being at the same size as the other one. If that's the case, they should not be higher or lower, but I think the commercial should not have an exemption and should stay at 35 feet max. And I'm going to make a motion that that exemption got scrapped and the commercial building go by zoning ordinance max to 35 feet.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
He's saying the height of the building to
That
drop.
has, the height of the building that has the retail in it is apparently, which,
The two commercial buildings.
which,
And because I don't know why we would have a commercial building at 87 feet.
has condos above it, I think, is the design.
No, they ask for all the building at the same exemption for all the buildings, so.
Commercial building has condos above it. That's why they say it's a multi-use building, I think.
Do I have a motion and a second? Any further discussion on that? Is it on the motion?
After you do the motion, I got a comment.
Okay. Is it a motion? Is it a comment to this motion?
No.
Okay. Anyone else with comment on this motion? Let's vote on the motion to limit the two buildings with the retail in it to 35 feet. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
No.
Fails 5-2 unless someone besides Councilman Juvance and Councilman Alexander voted no. What?
Sorry. First I heard there were going to be condos on top of it.
What was your comment, Steve?
It has.
My comment is in relation to what you said earlier. I think that we need, one of the biggest concerns I've heard is having just the one ramp. What he was talking about.
One what, I'm sorry?
One boat ramp. What Sean was talking about earlier, if the citizens and us as a council would get together and try to solicit the Corps to do exactly what he's talking about.
I'm gonna halt you on that one for a second, Mr. Tuttle, and I could commiserate on that for a long time. We've been working with the Corps for a long time to try and get Nat Caldwell restored. The work is going on right now. The plan does include, there is actually a boat launch there currently, but it's off of the existing island, but it includes some educational components. It certainly includes recreating a channel in there. It includes
Include a boat ramp.
some ecological restoration.
It's a possibility.
Been working on it a long time. We are not close yet with the Corps, so. And it's going to cost a lot, so that's the other problem. But the positive side of that is that we have had great interest from a lot of different people who have done development in that area, who.
Hopefully the people that stopped it up.
Now, that's an opinion. I don't think that the Corps.
I didn't name any names.
I don't think the Corps is consistent with that. But we do have a lot of interested parties who are willing to partner on that. Just trying to get to a place where we have a great plan and can do something better there. Because I do have very fond memories of it. Councilman Juvans.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, I come back to that height of building. I'm like my colleague here, that the first time I hear that's going to be a condo on top of the commercial, but maybe I missed it. But if I'm looking at what they submitted to us on the building height, mixed use, and the height exception requested per below, so that their own plan. That's not us doing anything about it. Mixed use building 1 and 2 are 75 feet, and condo unit 1, 2, 3, 4 at 60 feet. So where is that again? Condominium under 12 units. So how many units are in the mixed-use building?
For me to
Yeah,
be able
Mr.
to
Rose
speak?
caught my eye and said, shall I? I said, please.
So the 64 units that are in the 4 separate buildings, that's obviously 64 units. What's left of that, up to 112, is 48 units. So there'd be, in each of the 2 mixed-use buildings, there'll be 24 units in those 2 structures, and 24 total units within each, making 48. 48 plus 64 equals the 112.
That's why I asked earlier, the original plan had how many? 280? 280, and this one has 212, I think?
112.
112, okay.
I mean,
No, that's not right, is it? Okay, all right.
Councilman Carter? Motion to call for the question.
You can technically, we don't use Robert's rule, so technically that motion doesn't apply.
What?
Definitely can.
We don't use Robert's rule. You guys scrap Robert's rule that
I have a motion to call for the question. Second? Do I need a second for that? Motion.
die for lack of second.
Call for the question, have a second. 1 minute. Okay. Dies for lack of a second. Thank you for your patience. I was second guessing myself, but, okay, proceed on with discussion. Councilman Javons again.
Sorry?
You said go ahead.
Councilman
thank you.
Javons.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I would like to make sure we understand what the 25% completion means, and what that's going to include, because it's too vague to, that we need to have a clear definition of that.
Okay, you recall that Vice Mayor Hayes asked that of Mr. Tuttle, and Mr. Tuttle said that he would try and ascertain from the traffic study people what that actually translates into.
Make sure we all agree on that. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Any discussion, anyone?
I do hope we have a plan for before when we get to working out there, that they do have a plan for the traffic, that's already there, to get, because they'll have to go all the way back around the backside and come out Cages Bend, or it's a long way around through there. I know they build it over on East Main, and I have to go around sometimes because they block the road. I'm like, golly, I don't even want to do this, but it's part of, I know it's part of construction, but I do hope we have a plan.
I've lived all over Douglas and Cages Bend. I know well. Yeah.
Way back in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so, but I agree with you. And that the main problem is that I don't see a plan there. So.
Well, it's a great improvement to actually have the connector near the front between Douglas Bend and Cages Bend, because that was a deficiency for.
It hadn't always been.
No.
Okay, yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was good. Somebody used to hit on that. Yeah.
Look at our engineering department.
With a ditch digger.
Okay, any further discussion, any questions before we vote on first reading? This is first reading on ordinance 02507-40. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
No.
Passes first reading 5-2. Item number 7 is resolution R2507-40. Councilman Jones, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution of the City Council of the City of Gallatin, Sumner County, Tennessee, authorizing the property owner and applicant to submit an application to annex a 327.12 plus or minus acre portion of a parcel into the city, located south of Highway 31 and north of Gateway Drive. Motion?
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Jones, second by Councilman Fennell, opening the floor for any discussion. Councilman Javons.
Thank you, Mayor. That's what I was trying to talk about last week, but talk about now. I think we're doing things again the wrong way, because if they really want to do industrial there, we're going to have to change the plan Gallatin. We're going to have to change the character area. That means that have to go to planning. They have to come back to us to get changed. That's going to take a while. And I don't see why we don't do that first. And that would be even beneficiary for them, because for all the time that's going to take to go there, they don't pay city tax. They will pay only county tax. That would save them money.
I'm guessing that most of us don't disagree on that. However, it is how we are required to do it. So
No, but we don't have to. We don't have to authorize them.
Oh, well, no, I wouldn't want to change the character area without an application.
But we can, as a council, say we want to change the character area of. We can do that as a council on the plan Gallatin. We can send it back to planning and say we want to change that area to character area to industrial. We can do that.
But I think you would have to have the property owner's cooperation on that.
No. We can, as a council, we can change any part of plan Gallatin. We have to send it to planning. They have to approve it and send back to us. We can do that as a council. That's what Plan Gallatin, it's an open document. So
Usually we are arguing against changing zoning. I do feel like the property owner, once it has been set, would have, I mean, because they have the opportunity through all of that. I don't feel comfortable with that.
I just want to protect us from a change. If something happen, we annex, it's suburban. If something happen and they decide not to go industrial, they can come back with a PMDP, with thousands of townhouses, and they're gonna have that's gonna be there on the character area.
I think that is something.
I don't think the character area is suburban right now. It's rural, correct? It's rural. So you're gonna have to change it regardless.
Yeah, and
unless they're gonna come in with a plan that fits the rural character area.
I mean, that would be through the approval process if it moved forward, what you would do there. I mean, well, first of all, it's not, well, thinking out loud always dangerous. I mean, I think that's something that you could do as you go through the process. I mean, you would have to for the approval.
Yeah, but that's something we could do before.
But I don't think there would be anything appropriate about doing it without an application or without, yeah, I disagree. I mean, if it's changing the property owner's plan for their property, you know, be odd to pick out something and characterize it. Because I mean, if it truly were to go industrial, I mean, there would be a whole lot of considerations associated with that. Utility particularly, and so that'd have to be navigated.
But that's just for him to submit an application.
Right.
This is nothing just for him to submit that application, okay.
They'll submit the application, then we'll go through the process.
And if the applicant desired, and made that request through planning that we look at the character area.
And they might, because of what was said on that inquiry that was submitted.
We couldn't change the zoning yet. We would have to annex first before we change the zoning. But I think, and I'll defer to Brian, but I think if the applicant desired to get that process started, I think that you could do that.
I'll give my 2 cents on this. When development is being considered or proposed, I think it's most appropriate to require the applicant to be the one to request that change. If the city has aspirations and goals for a particular, change to a certain area because they think that is, the way that they want their city to move, then of course we always have the right to be able to go in and amend our comprehensive plan to be in concert with that idea and that goal. But just to accommodate a new development that may be being considered, I think it's more appropriate to allow the developer to make that request to us, make their proposal, and then we consider it based on what they propose. Now, as to the timing of the comprehensive plan amendment and how that works, I think we can run a comprehensive plan amendment concurrent to an annexation because we're not dealing with the zoning part until after it's annexed. But if they wanted to apply for a comprehensive plan amendment prior to when this gets annexed and we start running it, similar time frame as this annexation request, I don't see why that would be a problem.
And I agree with that. And I think it would probably be in the developer's best interest if that's their vision for this property to go ahead and get that process started.
Anyone else? Okay, this is Resolution R2507-40. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Passes 6-1. Item 8 is Resolution R2508-48. Councilman Giovanni, recognized.
It's a resolution accepting public improvement by the City of Gallatin, Tennessee in Kennesaw Farm, Phase 6, Section 2, and I so move.
Motion by Councilman Giovanni, second by Councilman Carter. Are there any questions, any discussion? Resolution R2508-48. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. It passes unanimously. Item 9 is Resolution R2508-49. Councilman Giovanni again.
Thank you, Mayor. A resolution accepting public improvement by the City of Gallatin, Tennessee in Kennesaw Farm, Phase 4, Section 3, and I so move.
Motion by Councilman Giovanni, second by Councilman Carter. Any questions, any discussion? It's Resolution R2508-49. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. It passes unanimously. 10 is Resolution R2508-51. Councilman Fan.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution to update City of Gallatin compensation plan by replacing data quality engineer / training administrator / system administrator position to code system specialist within the codes department. And I so move.
Motion by Councilman Van, second by Councilman Carter. Any questions, any discussion? Okay, it's Resolution R2508-51. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Passes unanimously. Item 11 is Resolution R2508-53. Councilman Fennell is recognized.
Yes, Mayor, this is a resolution to authorize the City of Gallatin to apply for a State of Tennessee Tourism Enhancement Grant. Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilman Fennell, and Councilman Carter's going to second everything. I am grateful. Second by Councilman Carter. Any questions, any discussion? It's Resolution R2508-53. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. That wraps up the regular agenda. Oh, it passes unanimously. And brings us now to other business. I would ask if anyone has any other business. I do not this evening, so. Councilman.
Mayor, I had the opportunity last week to attend the local government leadership program put on by the University of Tennessee. Somehow I was nominated to be one of 30 elected officials. I don't know if that grin means you did it, but anyway. It was an outstanding event. If anyone on the council, there's even a couple of finance directors there as well. Get a chance to attend it. It is absolutely incredible. The discussions, the thought processes behind serving in public office were excellent. The real meetings were during the breaks and at mealtime, and the topics of discussion were solid waste, growth outpacing infrastructure, and traffic. Those, it didn't matter what table you went to.
Were they from all over Tennessee?
All over
or just Middle
Tennessee.
Tennessee?
This wasn't the CTAS or MTAS, this was a different program, is what he's talking.
It's different, but it's kind of
It's the
similar
NAFE
experience, I would
leadership,
think. It's the
part of
NAFE
UT.
leadership,
CTAS and MTAS paid for it.
but it's interesting. I mean, having been at TML, and it's so different when you're in a conversation with a group of people from certain parts of West Tennessee versus middle, and it used to be that East Tennessee didn't have much to say about a lot of things that we have to say about. So
Council member from Kingsport took care of that. So there was, from Memphis to Kingsport was represented. It's really good.
that's good.
Thank you to whoever did it.
2 days of it?
You're welcome.
It's
Because you're so wise.
no, I mean I get so frustrated because I feel like there's such a disconnect related to traffic. And I'm like you, everything I go to is conversations about solid waste, certainly about traffic, certainly about growth. But, Tennessee has always been and is very proud of being a pay-as-you-go state, which I tell people who move to Tennessee that, talk about, oh, we came here because it was cheap and people are nice. But the price you pay to live in Middle Tennessee is traffic, because Tennessee, my entire life, has been woefully behind in traffic. And I can say with absolute certainty, and a few others in here probably can too, that I can get to Nashville a lot quicker than I used to. And that seems crazy to some people, but I remember the pain of 386 being built. I remember the pain of the interstate being widened.
Go through Hendersonville.
Yep, and then, I feel challenged too, because I feel like the state is very much about attracting jobs and attracting people to Tennessee, and then local communities are charged with accommodating the people who are moving to Tennessee, which then eclipses the opportunity for our existing residents to keep their children here or have their family downsize here and that kind of thing. So that to me is appropriate that would be your topics of discussion, because it's the things that I think about all the time. You had something, Councilman Schwartz?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I'm glad they had finance director there, but they don't have our finance director, who's now a vice president too. I still have no idea what I nominated her for, but I did.
I don't know what you said, I'm sorry. Oh.
I still have no idea.
It's an alternate director position for our district.
It's alternate director. It's even better.
I would probably guess that Ms. Nichols has more training in government finance than most of the people in the state of Tennessee, having worked in county, city, and school board.
Yes, ma'am. So, few things I would like to put on the agenda next week. One, because we kind of push it away, but I think we need to bring it back, is how we're going to take care of our soccer population. I know we have a property now, and there was some money put aside for that. So I would like to see.
I still haven't met with them. I've reached back out to them, and I still have not. I actually got an email from them today, but I still have not had a meeting with them, and not because I'm not ready or willing. So
if that's just the issue, we'll get you a meeting. That's not a problem, but I still think we need to start talking about the plan, because the population is growing, and I would like to talk about it and have them come and talk about it and see if we can do something about it, because we need to accommodate our population, and right now they don't have enough room, so we need to do something. We're losing money with tournaments, where we could have tournament there, bringing a lot of money to the city, and I think that's something we should do. So I would like to.
I think it's going to be, I don't mind doing it, but I do think that it needs to work within the parks plan. And I don't know, I haven't even talked to David Brown about it lately. We've been made so busy with so many other things. I don't disagree. I mean, I want to get the soccer plan done, and they sent us a good plan, but our engineering department hadn't had a chance to look at it, and we don't know the costs associated with it. And what I want to know from them is how do they want to prioritize it? How can we make it work and not do it all at once? And what are the, what things do they must have, and what things would they like? What are the necessities, and what are the desires?
So why don't we put that on the agenda and have them come here and tell us and ask her?
Plan a soccer complex by council.
Ask the questions and see what they have, and we can keep the conversation going, because we need to do something.
Well, like I said, I've told them I'm happy to meet with them, and they.
I was gonna say, so you are meaning the soccer club?
Well, no, I can't. It's been several weeks now since I followed up with an email to them, and I did not hear.
Don't y'all think our parks director needs to be involved in this?
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it would be better to have Mr. Brown sit with the mayor and sit with the soccer club and whatever else entities, and then we bring it to a meeting and put that out there. I think it's more productive that way.
I agree 100% on that.
Well, I did have an email, I think, from Mr. Davis today, but I've not yet read it.
I just asked him to meet with you, so.
Okay, well, like I say, he knows that. I've told him several times, and
I'll tell him too.
Okay, thank you. know. But anyway, Councilman Juvance, you want to put that as a motion, and I'll see what the will of the body is. as to
Oh, I'm removing my motion, and I will follow up to make sure you guys are meeting, and
So you don't want to make a motion?
No, I'm okay with Councilman Carter. We're gonna make sure you get the meeting, that you all sit together. We'll get the pizza going, so everybody, that
What'd
nice.
you say?
We'll bring some pizza too, or something, Pizza.
Pizza?
Yeah, so everybody's happy.
Listen, I'll make sure they get a meeting. I'm sure I'm probably the person on this council that calls Paige the most, so I'll make sure there's a meeting.
Yeah, we'll
No, I
make sure
don't,
that-
I mean, you're making it sound like he doesn't want to work.
No.
Doesn't want to meet.
That's
Okay,
not
we're gonna
my
line it
intent at
up,
all.
y'all. Let's go. We're gonna get that taken
Vice
care of.
Mayor Hayes is ready to go.
Work it out.
We all have been following Andersonville right now, and I think what they're doing is great. We were talking about that infrastructure issue, and they're pushing a moratorium there, and I've been following that, and I think it's a good idea. So I would like to put that on the next work agenda, discussion on moratorium for infrastructure to.
We've gone down this road quite a bit. Ms. Hamacali, would you like to weigh in?
I'm not going to weigh in on what Hendersonville's doing. They have their own legal counsel, and
No, I'm saying he wants to put it on next week's agenda for us to discuss, to consider a moratorium.
I need to do some research, but it's my understanding to enact a moratorium that you have to have a study, your experts have to, I mean, we've talked about this several times, and in the past, the council has not wanted to do the study, because it's expensive to do that.
Have you talked to their city attorney down there?
I have not.
You might want to talk to him.
I'll call him.
Yeah, you might want to do that.
I'd like to know what's going on there.
Well, I know other cities.
Well, I'm not going to, I don't want to report back to this body on what another city's doing. If you want to call me and talk to me about it, I will reach out to Mr. Ray and talk with him. I know him, and I will call and talk to him. But I don't want to have a public discussion.
But I know
He advises Hendersonville, I advise Gallatin.
But every time that there's been a moratorium that's been passed within the state of Tennessee, I always am like, Simon McCauley, and he's like, because you either have to have a demonstrated deficiency in infrastructure. Traffic is very subjective, but utilities are less so. Or you have to have a defined moratorium during which time you conduct, two things. You have to define moratorium period during which time you have to conduct a study that, like she said, costs a lot of money to either lift or continue. And the moratorium, is my understanding, and I've had this discussion now for 10 years, cannot be on one specific thing. It has to be universal, because if you have a deficiency in infrastructure, you have a deficiency in infrastructure, period. So I have always been told that you can't make it specific to multifamily. It has to be across the board.
I will say, there has been some internal discussions between my office and planning about the new zoning ordinance that's coming in, and we are researching to see what can be done with development and a potential moratorium. I'm not certain exactly what Mr. Rose is considering, but we are researching to see if there's something while we are moving into, it's different than just a moratorium on development. And there is case law that does support when you have a zoning code that is being amended, that you can have a short moratorium.
Defined transition period.
Yes, to transition into that. And so we have begun discussions on that
Mine's
issue.
short.
Well,
Months. A few months.
Just a year.
Well, they
Yes.
live 9 months, so that's short.
But we have already taken the steps. I mean, we have been working with a consultant. We've done all of the work we are in the final stages, hopefully, of starting to
maneuver that through our process to get it approved. So I do think there is an opportunity if this council, I mean, obviously, we can't, as city departments, put a moratorium into effect, but if the council is in favor of that, that is something that we're researching, and I think that could be, that we could do legally without issue.
I mean, my experience has been, because, I mean, I've had these kinds of discussions for years and years and years, and whenever I've had the conversation with somebody at the state, they just shake my head at me because there's different positions on, traditionally, if you were to say moratorium, that would be like, ooh, hands off their poison, don't commercially invest, don't bring jobs, don't bring anything to that community because they've got a problem. I think with the growth in Tennessee that it's probably viewed somewhat differently now, but I still question how it can be used properly. So that's my thought.
Put a moratorium on something that's already been zoned.
What? What now?
If something had already been zoned, say for a farm, you try to put a moratorium on it, you can do that legally.
I would think if it had been zoned, yes, but not approved. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to speculate. Heck, I don't know what I'm talking about. So anyway, I would ask that you give Ms. High McCauley some time to research. I have no idea how much you probably got on your plate at this time, to have some conversations and feel like, see if she has anything that she does feel like she could advise us on.
How much time you need, you think? Couple of weeks?
Yeah, I don't know that I would be ready at the next work session, but possibly.
The one after?
Yeah, I think that we could do that.
We put that on the,
And is this body wanting something for all development, or are you just wanting it for while we do our zoning ordinance? If we're thinking about just doing it while we're implementing the zoning ordinance
That's one thing.
and on rezonings, that's one thing. And as I said, I think there is case law. Haven't fully researched it, but I do think there's some case law that could support that.
Mr. Rose and I discussed that a couple months ago, and doing a brief moratorium on rezoning applications while this ZOCO is happening, so.
Yeah, I think that would be appropriate.
After he checks with legal.
how about the 9? That's,
I'm sorry,
put it on the 9? On the 9?
on the
I think that's
September 9th.
September 9th.
And then with that as well, Ms. High McCauley, I think it will be pertinent to speak with Mr. Rose to see what direction he professionally.
We've been speaking. We thought this conversation might be coming, so we have been speaking.
So I think that
But
would
I'm
be good to
still a
lead
little
our-
uncertain about what direction you're wanting me to look at. Is it just during the adoption of the zoning ordinance and for rezones?
I think the ask was specific to following Hendersonville's action.
And is that still the ask after my comments, or are we,
I'm okay with planning.
okay, okay, thank you.
And stuff came back to my attention, and I have to admit that I'm totally confused on that one, where we're going, because I had something in my head that looks like it's different. I went back, listened, so I can figure out Twin Eagles, about the road in Twin Eagles. Well, we said that road had to be built. There is nothing built there yet. So where are we with that? And
I doubt that they want to answer that tonight. You can probably follow up with them, or you can send them an email and answer.
We received a surety for it.
so that's where we went, to surety.
No, please, I mean, nobody's going to know everything off the top of their head. They're going to have to look it up for you. So,
You have a problem, miss? So why don't you come here and say?
wait. What? I don't understand what's going on.
I'm talking and she's puffing and huffing, so I'm asking her if she has a problem.
Oh, well, let's not. Let's keep the comments amongst us up here, please.
So please ask her to not do that when I'm talking. I would appreciate
I
it.
don't think that's
I don't know
necessary.
who
We
you're
don't know what's
talking
going on.
about. I don't
We're
know.
up here.
I didn't see anybody doing anything. I apologize. I can't see everybody at the department head
Thank you,
taking
Mayor.
for
I
us.
think, however, if we do see something, we don't know what's going on out there, that's not necessary. Let's stick to what we have going up here.
Okay, anyone else other business?
Motion,
No.
Public recognition.
I just hope you get that.
I feel really bad if there's someone that's been waiting to speak under public recognition on non-agenda related items because you've sat through a long meeting. So if you'd like to speak to that, now would be your time and you're welcome to come forward. Public recognition on non-agenda related items. Now open. Seeing no one indicating they wish to speak, now closed. Thank you. Motion by Councilman Fennell, second by Councilman Jones or Carter? Okay, Carter. All in favor, say aye. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, everybody have a good night.